Good morning, everybody. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So listen, I am going to be talking this morning about the biggest terror attack in British history that has just been foiled. I'm going to talk about that for a little bit, and I'm going to ask you guys the question that I always ask people. Do you think that that's it? Do you think that that's it now? There are no more bad men plotting to do bad stuff to our country, to our race, to our religion, to our infrastructure, and to our institutions. Do you think that that's it? Do you think that that's it now? The biggest terror plot has been foiled. I'm also going to talk about how white men will fight. Now, I'm going to talk about this a little bit now, and I'm going to tell you guys what I'm just going to give you guys historic analysis, historic pattern recognition. White men do war. That's the reality. You know, white men come together and they do war. That is what white men do. They also do technology. They also do medicine. They also literally invent everything. So that's the province of white men. Now, you guys can look at other cultures and say, well, some cultures just want to, and look, guys, I'm not saying that any cultures do want to do this, but if you take a step back and you do pattern recognition, some cultures may or may not want to do, may want to just dance around and, commit crime and listen to cool music. Some cultures may just be very devout religious and want to pray all the time and marry their cousin. Some cultures may just want to, sneak away all the money and snaffle it away. Look, guys, I'm talking right now about white men and white men's history, and that's why we are living in an absolute dangerous part in history, because we are heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale, and it's going to be where white men are fighting white men predominantly. The wars that we've had in the past, since World War II, have predominantly been, in the Middle East, conflicts, skirmishes. You guys can say the Falklands was a war, but it was done in, 74 days, I think. The Falklands was, the Argentinians took the Falklands. 74 days later, it was back in British control. So we've not really had a war where white people have been fighting, we've not really had a war where white people have been fighting each other. So this is what we're heading towards. And before we get onto this, there was an artist. Hang on, is it that one? It's not that one. Is it that one? Right. There was an article released by, I think, Piers Morgan. I've totally lost it. There we are. Now, I'm just going to share this with you because this is the type of, I'm only going to share this once. I'll let the video play. I'll just let you, and it does tie into what, it does tie into what I talk about on this channel. Let me share the video. This is the stuff I want to talk about. I really do. This is the stuff I want to do. This is what I feel humanity should be doing. But unfortunately, we are fighting wars, ridiculous wars, and all these wars are dark. And I've met several.
Why won't they ever let anybody go in and look at it?
Because why won't anybody be allowed into the Kaaba in Mecca? Because it's the most sacred place as far as the.
So they're talking about the Ark of the Covenant, and so the Ark of the Covenant, guys, it's the biblical ark that supposed to hold some sort of holy relic, and it's supposed to be able to destroy armies. And allegedly, it's in a place in Ethiopia.
The Ethiopians are concerned.
Is there anyone alive who's ever seen it?
No.
No.
Apart from the Guardian of the Ark. And the Guardian of the Ark, and I've met several of them,
Yeah.
They all get ill. This is another thing that intrigued me. They get cataracts over their eyes.
Why?
They say the Ark caused it. I asked specifically through a translator how.
And they do it till they die.
And why did the Ark cause this to you? And he just said the Ark is a thing of fire. And that was the moment when this story really got its hook into me. The absolute honesty with which that person spoke, and the feeling that he was in the presence of some awesome power intrigued me. I'm offering this as an alternative point of view.
No,
and I'm backing up, supporting.
No, I get it. I get it.
But I might not be right. The Ethiopians might not be right.
Here's my point about you, which I didn't know what to make of you the first time until I interviewed you. And afterwards I said, it seems completely reasonable to me. I mean, you might not, everything you're saying might be completely wrong, but you don't pretend otherwise.
Yeah.
What you're saying is there are a set of circumstances here, which if you interpret it like this, could lead us to this. And there's this fascinating place, heavily guarded, which has all this history. And it could be, logically, that is where the Ark of the Covenant lies.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, that sort of stuff, that excites me. That excites me. That makes me want to go out there and explore that, and this is what I'm talking about. White men, it's white men go out there and they tame the wild. It was white men who discovered America and industrialized. It was white men who did everything. But now the world has been discovered. The whole world's been discovered. So white men, their place in, like, the place of white men in the world now, where else can we go and, like, where's the new frontier? And this is why I talk about Antarctica a lot. I do talk about Antarctica because there has to be a mass exodus down there, and I do think that's going to happen. It's wild. But, that's the reality. White men do war, and white men do exploration, and white men do inventions, and white men do technology, and other people just don't do that. Other races just do not do that, guys. That's the reality. But anyway, look, guys, I'm just going to touch that there because that is the kind of stuff that excites me. That's the kind of stuff that I'm interested in. But we don't get to explore. We don't get to go to Antarctica. We don't get to go into space unless we deal with the problems that we have here first. For example, look at the United Kingdom right now. Look at the UK. We're about to send boots on the ground to Ukraine. Young men and women going overseas to fight when we've got problems in the United Kingdom. Look, and I'll be the first to admit it. If the United Kingdom was all tickety-boo and everybody was, and everybody was in harmony, I'd be the first one to say, right, let's go and give these Russians a good slap. But right now, I think we have greater problems, and those greater problems are at home. So let me just let's start with I am going to start with this biggest terror attack. So the biggest terror attack has been foiled in the United Kingdom. I've not watched this video, but I'm going to share it with you guys now. So I'm going to talk now about the biggest terror attack. There's a video being released. It's quite a. So let's just. I don't know what this video is about, but let's watch it together.
Undercover.
Yes. Ready. Go.
After a 5-month counter-terror investigation, police take down Walid Sardawi in a hotel car park in Bolton.
Oh, look at him. Do you know what really pisses me off about these terrorists? How pathetic they are. Look at him.
Go.
After a 5-month counter.
Just watch how pathetic this guy is.
Terror investigation.
Look how he's running. Look how he's running. Look at his shoulders. Look at his shoulders. Honestly.
Police take down Walid Sardawi in a hotel car park in Bolton.
He got taken down by his t-shirt. I mean, a real alpha man, if somebody grabs your t-shirt, you just run and that t-shirt gets ripped off and you expose your bulging muscles, which I think he lacks.
He was there to collect 2 assault rifles, a handgun, and 200 rounds of ammunition from a car driven by a man he thought was a fellow extremist. That man was an undercover operative. The guns had been deactivated. Sardawi convicted today for plotting what could have become Britain's worst ever mass shooting attack.
Guys, look, when I talk about these things, the question I always ask, the question I asked before, the last time one of these gangs were disrupted by the police or whatever, do you think that that's it now? The simple question, guys, do you think that that's it? Do you think that there are no more of these guys out there? Do you think that that's it now? No, nobody else in the United Kingdom right now is sat in a hotel, in a terraced house, in wherever. Do you think that that's it now and that nobody else is sat there planning an attack?
Targeting Greater Manchester's Jewish community. Convicted with him, his co-conspirator Ammar Hussein, who shared Sardawi's embrace of the ideology of the so-called Islamic State, and Sardawi's brother Bilal, found guilty of knowing about the plot and failing to inform police. Greater Manchester's Chief Constable calling them extraordinarily dangerous terrorists.
The scale of the offenders' hatred toward our Jewish community knew no bounds.
That scale of hatred to me really does fascinate me. It does. It absolutely fascinates me because I don't hate anyone more than I love myself. I don't. and I do love myself. But like, I don't understand it. Like, as a white Western man, you know, I don't want to unalive myself because somebody said I'm going to get 72 virgins. I don't want to do that. I can't, I honestly, if somebody said to me, Sean, what's your idea of heaven? I would say like constant exploration, going in, getting myself in a little spaceship and going out and exploring the cosmos. That's what I would say. Inventing new shit.
They sought to bring slaughter to the innocent.
I'm arresting you on suspicion of being a terrorist.
This was the moment Bilal Sardawi was arrested shortly after his brother in May 2024.
Your right-hand side, if you look.
Yeah.
That's the camera there.
What is it?
Right in front of you, in that hat.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
What none of the men knew then was just how much of what they'd said and done in the preceding months had also been recorded. It began with a Facebook friend request in December 2023 from a man known to the court as Farouk, to one of 10 accounts created by Walid Sardawi under false names. Sardawi had attracted attention by praising jihad and Islamic State, saying he wanted to break his thirst with Jewish and Christian blood. Farouk was the
I mean, honestly, like, who even writes that? I pray to you, Allah, not to catch me until I break my thirst with... What the... What? Jesus. So I'm going to ask the question again, ladies and gentlemen. These are the guys they've caught because they were doing Facebook posts. I'm assuming. I'm watching this with you guys for the first time. Okay. So my question to you guys right now is, my question to everybody, and I'll keep asking this: do you think that that's it now? Do you think that that's it? We've, they've got all these bad guys that are plotting stuff. They've caught them all. They're all caught. I mean, this was from December 23. Or do you think that there are more people planning these things? I think there are, and I think that it's only a matter of time before we have a mass incident.
His thirst with Jewish and Christian blood. Farouk was the undercover operative, pretending to be based in Belgium. The fake profile he contacted bore the image of Abdelhamid Abaoud, the man who led the 2015 attacks in Paris that killed 130 people. Sardawi encouraged Farouk to carry out a similar attack on Jews and Crusaders in Belgium.
What the fuck? Honestly, we have this crazy thing at the moment. You know, as a white man, I don't want to do war. I want to do exploration. I do. I don't want to do war. I don't want to fight with people. I would much rather that energy be put into exploration, building spaceships, building solar panels, going onto asteroids, putting a colony on the moon, putting a colony on Mars. That's what I want to do, right? You've got these people, let's carry out operations against the Jews and the Crusaders in, wherever they're, like, stop it. Really, guys, stop it. Because when an asteroid hits Earth, and you guys are praying 5 times a day, do you know they're going to be the people who saved the entire world? It's going to be white men.
Asked him the price of an automatic weapon there, then suggested they take their conversation to the encrypted messaging app Telegram.
An undercover operative connected with him and built a relationship of trust with him, and it was through that the plot was identified and stopped. So it was the bravery and skill of the undercover operative that...
Okay, right. I'm just going to throw it out there. Bravery. What bravery? The undercover operative, he's probably like a fat MI6 guy with glasses on and nerdy on his computer. I'm not sure about his bravery. I'm not sure about, it's hardly Daniel Craig doing like throat chops in some casino, ridiculous. Anyway, let's continue.
Ensured that lives were saved.
The prosecution said Sardawi's anti-Semitism intensified after the October the 7th attacks, where once he was posting about killing Jews, now he began to plan and prepare in earnest for an attack here on Greater Manchester's Jewish community.
So our message is clear. Be resolute. Remain proud.
A plan that crystallized after a march in Manchester in defense of Israel and against anti-Semitism in January 2024. He wanted to attend another such event and, with fellow attackers, open fire with hundreds of rounds of ammunition. He wanted Farouk to help smuggle in the guns and bullets, telling the undercover operative that he himself had gone undercover on Facebook. I am participating in Jewish pages as an imposter. I see their gatherings and their marches, he wrote. God willing, we will degrade and humiliate them in the worst way possible and hit them where it hurts.
Just look at that there, guys. God willing, we will degrade and humiliate them. I've fought in a lot of wars. I've been in a lot of gunfights. And in none of those gunfights have I ever wanted to humiliate anyone. I've never wanted to humiliate anyone. You are in a gunfight and you're not even there to, when you're in a gunfight, you're not even there to hurt the other people. You're there to achieve an objective. Now, whether that objective is to capture someone, whether that objective is to blow up a drug factory, whether that objective is, whatever that objective is, you're not there to degrade anyone. It's like, this is so ridiculous. This is so ridiculous, guys. I mean, look, guys, and if anybody's out, and I really would love to listen to somebody out there because, and as I said right at the beginning of this live stream, it's the prerogative and it's the province of white men to explore, to push boundaries, to go out there and to reach new horizons. Can you just let us do that, please? Can you just give us like a couple of years so we can colonize space? Can you just do that?
This trial began just days after the Heaton Park synagogue attack in Manchester in October. The Jewish organization that provides security to such sites says this case will deepen community fears.
There is no doubt that these individuals were seeking the means to carry out a dreadful mass shooting of Jews in Manchester that in all likelihood would have been even worse than what we just saw happen on Bondi Beach in Sydney.
In March 2024, Sardawi and Farouk blurred in these images.
Look how fat they are. Look how pathetic these guys are. Honestly, this is what really annoys me. When you guys I said this when the Bondi Beach attack, when that guy got his rifle took off him. I think it was a shotgun or whatever. I said, look how pathetic these people are. You have people have these images, of these of terrorists, and they think they're these big, tough, macho men, and they've got big chest and shoulders, and they're not. They are not those people. They are. I mean, look how fat he is. I mean, he's clearly been eating well.
Visited Dover, along with Sardawi's friend Ammar Hussein in the blue hat, who'd also committed to taking part in the attack. The purpose, as shown in phone footage Hussein neglected to delete, reconnaissance of the port through which Farouk was supposed to bring the first batch of guns and ammunition. Next day, back in Greater Manchester, Sardawi took Farouk on a tour of Jewish neighborhoods that were to be the secondary target after the attack on the Jewish.
Right. Okay. So there was an undercover officer here. Right. Okay. Sorry. So there was an undercover officer actually working here. Sorry, guys. Let me backtrack a minute. Earlier, I said that the bravery of Earlier, I said the bravery of the officer because I thought this was all done online, but it wasn't. As I'm reading it now, this guy has actually met up and they've done face-to-face. So yes, fair play.
March. As they walked these streets, Sadawi went into more detail, gaming out how they might attack a supermarket that they came across, saying that any children killed here would go to heaven because they didn't yet count as infidels.
Fucking hell. Fuck.
Secondary target after the attack on the Jewish march. As they walked these...
So just imagine this. You know, when you see these people walking streets, what are they talking about? When these two guys will have walked up that street, they will have just looked like two regular fellas walking up a street. And listen to what they were talking about.
Streets, Sadawi went into more detail, gaming out how they might attack a supermarket that they came across.
Listen to what they say about children. So children are fair game now, guys. You know, apparently, according to this guy, I can't even say the words.
Saying that any children killed here would go to heaven because they didn't yet count as infidels.
So what do we think about that? Like, you know, what do we think about that, guys? If doing those things against children is fair game because those children, you know, because those children are not infidels, they will go to heaven. So it's absolutely fine. What the actual fuck? Honestly, guys, I don't even have like words.
Sadawi, once a hotel entertainer in his native Tunisia, had for several years owned an Italian restaurant in Great Yarmouth. He sold the business in 2023.
I mean, you know, if you walked... Look, guys, look at that picture there, right? You know, if you walked, like you walk on any high street and you see two guys standing around like that, how do you know what they're talking about? And look, guys, let me be quite clear. I'm not speculating that there are anybody that... I'm not speculating that every group of Muslims stood around on a street corner or dark-skinned men are up to no good. What I'm saying is, look at that picture, right? If you walked past, that picture right there is a scene from any... That picture right there is just a scene from any high street, any town, you know, and look what they're planning. Look at the atrocities they're planning, guys, you know.
And bought a house with the proceeds in Wigan. Late that year, he began drawing down the rest of his savings, stashing more than £70,000 in a secret safe in an outhouse to secure it for his family once he'd become, in his words, a martyr, even leaving a will at his brother Bilal's house. Bilal was shown in court working out.
Okay, he's shredded, but look how small he is. What is he, like 5'3"?
In a video accompanied by a devotional song or nasheed associated with Islamic State. Another video at Bilal's home shows an individual doing target practice, using a shoebox and an upturned saucepan, another nasheed playing on a phone beside him. The second would-be attacker, Ammar Hussein, was, according to Sadawi, a veteran of Saddam's army in Iraq. When arrested, Hussein said he was proud to be a terrorist, that it meant protecting Islam. At their first meeting in person, Walid Sadawi told Farouk he was scared of incarceration. He would rather be killed than go to their prisons.
Ah, there we are, ladies and gentlemen. There we are. That's the problem right there. That is the problem that we are facing. And I'll ask you this question again. And I will keep asking this question, guys. Do you think that is it now? Do you think that there are no more of these attacks being planned in the... I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I can assume, you know, I can use Occam's razor and I can assume that there are more of these attacks being... Not Occam's razor, sorry. I can assume that there are more of these attacks being planned. I don't know. I would assume that they are. You know, a lot of these people, I would say all of these people have links to other countries, you know. You can trace my family lineage back to the 11th century in the United Kingdom. My family came over from France. Yeah, we were boat migrants. Do you know what, guys? But back then, there was no infrastructure in the UK. There was no NHS. There was no benefit system. When my family came over to the United Kingdom, over to England from France in the 11th century, we were settlers. You know, my family were settlers. They settled shit. You know, they farmed. They built houses. They didn't rely on people who were already there.
Now he, Ammar Hussein, and Bilal Sardawi all await sentence, their fate sealed by a man who was never, as they thought, one of them.
So the biggest terror attack on British in British history has just been foiled. And again, you know, I'm going to jump onto the chat in a minute, guys, and I am going to talk about this for a second. I would speculate, and it's up to you guys. Maybe you guys think that there are no more. Maybe you guys think that this is all done, it's finished, it's over, and that's it now. Everybody's safe. But the threat is real, guys. You know, the threat is real. We've not experienced in the United Kingdom a mass shooting event. We've not, luckily, thankfully, we've not experienced one. And this is why I always say, don't arm yourselves. Don't get weapons, because you get escalation when weapons start to come up. If we start to see a scenario in the United Kingdom where there are mass shootings, then yes, sure, we just need to open the floodgates and give everybody guns. But right now, you know, giving people guns in the United Kingdom is not. It's not a feasible thing. It's not. It is feasible. It's not. It won't have the right effect. It won't have the right effect, basically. Right. Good morning, everybody. That's what we're talking about. Right. Let me jump up and. Why is everybody changing their names? Right. Right, there's quite a lot going on in the chat at the moment. Gerald of Riviera is saying, one group tells you what they do, the other tells you what's being done to them, but never what they... I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Crusader Paul is saying, some, I don't even look at them in the eyes, Willow. I don't look anybody in the eyes. I don't look anybody in the eyes anymore. It's just too dangerous. Look, guys, it's too dangerous. I should have brought a coffee. It's too dangerous in the UK to look anybody in the eyes. It is. It's too dangerous. It's too dangerous. No, but don't do it. Don't do it. You know, when you're like, last week I was in Poland, and if anybody gets the opportunity to go out to Poland, to go to the Christmas markets, go. It's absolutely beautiful. One of the things I noticed was there wasn't this sense of dread around the supermarkets, around the shopping centers. You know, there wasn't this sense of dread where people are scurrying around with their heads down. I'm just going to jump to the bottom. There's loads of stuff on the chat here, guys. Fine Times is saying, we both know the score. They are here to eradicate us. The main issue hang on. I don't know what that means. Look, guys, okay, I'll say what I always say. All right. The first way to take back control of the United Kingdom, it's a conversation. You know, it's a conversation, and people are thinking, like, people are coming up with these crazy ideas. It's not going to work. Nothing. Like, the only thing that will work is to start a conversation, and it's so easy. It's so easy to do. You start a conversation and you get everything back. But nobody seems to be having this conversation, and the conversation is very simple. It's very difficult to deny, and it's very difficult to thwart. What legal framework do we have in the United Kingdom to oppose a tyrannical government? Everything comes from that. Everything, literally everything comes from that, guys. Like, have that. Can you, if you're on right now, ladies and gentlemen, can you do me a favor? Have that conversation with your friends and family, because that needs to start as a national conversation. Nothing happens until we have that conversation, right? Because we can't protect ourselves. We have no legal framework to protect ourselves from the government. And ultimately, if we can't protect ourselves from the government, we can't protect ourselves from anyone, because the government can just keep closing us down. The government can be infiltrated. And I would say the government is already infiltrated. So now we're dealing with it's kind of like It's kind of like putting a plaster on a big bleed. You need to deal with the root cause of that problem. And the root cause of that problem is the government can do what they want regardless. So these bad guys, so the bad guys know just to infiltrate the government, and then you can do what you want. Debbie Doobs is saying you can't have these conversations because I get called racist. So we're not talking. So the conversation is quite simple. You're not having a conversation. You're not having a race conversation. All you're doing is saying, right, if the government in the United Kingdom became tyrannical, and they started doing tyrannical shit, what legal framework, how would we protect ourselves? That's the conversation. It's got nothing to do with race. And if they say you're talking about race, then, but it is difficult to have these conversations because people don't want to listen. People don't want to listen. People want the, people want Tommy Robinson with his flag going down to London with on a big march. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. The first thing that needs to happen is that conversation needs to be had. And if it's not had, things will just get worse, and things will keep getting worse. Right, I've got some more videos to share with you guys. So let me just, I'm going to save that one till the last. We've done that one. Yeah, so Finland are boosting Finland are boosting their military. Let me share this. I've not seen this video.
Conscripts. Right now we are with some Finnish conscripts in the northernmost part of the European Union.
So Finland are conscripting, guys. Finland have got conscription. Yes, they have. I think Finland want to boost their numbers up to 1 million. I think it's 1 million. Yeah, I think so. The Finnish government want to expand their reserve forces to 1 million. The government in Finland are going to raise the upper age limit for reservists from 60 to 65. And that's going to start January the 1st. A lot of stuff's going to be starting January the 1st, guys. Okay. Let me continue this.
We're with the Lapland border guard as they're training hundreds of conscripts for the possibility of war with Russia.
Since Russia invaded Ukraine, Europe has been prepping for the worst. Finland specifically joined NATO, increased defence spending, and is carrying out large-scale military training, even in the harshest conditions.
God, that looks cold. That's making me feel cold. That looks cold.
We're about 25 miles or so away from the Russian border right now, and we know that the Russians have been building up military bases just on the other side of the border. Very difficult circumstances.
Okay, so when we talk about Finland, for those of you guys who don't know, Finland has, I think I'm going to say Finland has the biggest border with Russia. There's a lot of commentators online and in the mainstream media, and they're saying that Finland is going to be, if anywhere is going to get attacked next, it's going to be Finland because of that big border. I'm still sticking with Poland. Now, the reason I stick with Poland and I say that Poland will be the next place to get hit by Russia. There's no real advantage. There's nothing in all the logistics, all the command and control hubs, all the operational industry, I guess. It's in Poland, all the tanks, all the helicopters, all the shipping routes into Ukraine. It's all in Poland. All right. So if you're the bad guys and you get a free strike and you get a free punch, which is what this strike would be, you're not going to go into Finland because it makes no sense, because they understand what's coming. If you've got a free hit, you're going to do it. It's going to be Poland, guys. All right. But just for some people are out there saying that Finland would be the next logical step because the Russians building up on the border, which is true. But there's no real strategic advantage in moving into Finland. If you're going to do that initial first strike, you're going to want that to be as devastating as possible, right? You're not going to, for example, if you're in a conflict zone, you know, and you get a free strike, you're not going to want to take out, like, I don't know, a bin truck. You're going to want to take out as many tanks and F-35s and expensive kit as you can. So for an initial first strike, I think it's going to be Poland. But there are a lot of people saying it's going to be Finland.
Brighton.
The winter starts early and it lasts for very long. You grow mentally and physically here, and that's nice.
I think that the most effort goes to staying warm and being able to fight.
How cold does it get out here?
Minus 40 degrees.
Fucking hell. Minus 40 degrees. Just so you know, British military will fail. That is a fail for British military. Jesus, minus 40. The coldest I've ever been is minus 26, and that was in Ukraine.
Wow.
In the wintertime, January, February.
And has that sense of needing to be prepared increased since Russia's invaded Ukraine?
Of course, if you look what is happening in Ukraine, of course, it's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
We are not concerned about that. We follow the situation and we are well prepared.
So the Finns are preparing, the Finns are boosting their numbers up, and they are conscripting, and they want to have 1 million people now. They want to have 1 million people. You know, there's a financial tag attached to that, guys. All right, there's a financial tag attached to increasing your armed forces to 1 million reservists. And you know, like you guys just saw, they are conscripting. They're conscripting heavily. So you don't do this if you're not expecting, you know, a World War III scenario on a global, you know, on a global conflict on an industrial scale. What else have we got? Guys, these videos are a little bit, and this video is in response. This video is kind of with the first one. I'm going to jump back to the terrorism now in the United Kingdom. So let me share this with you.
Completely not our fault and random, but one of the people that we brought off and put onto a British warship that had docked up, HMS Enterprise it was called, he ended up being the bomber of the Manchester Arena.
No shit.
Yep. He was the guy. This was probably a few years before, but we fucking got him out. Yeah, and I don't feel bad about it because I can't. If I let my fucking head go down there, but yeah, it's just mental, isn't it? That like he escaped that country because he had an entitlement to do so. We put him on a fucking British warship, sailed him back to the UK, and then a few years later, he fucking clacked himself off and killed a bunch of kids at a fucking Ariana Grande concert.
So just to let you guys know, what clack yourself off means is when you cover yourself in explosives and you have the detonator and you run at somebody and you clack the button. It's a phrase that people use in the military when, you know, when you're in the military, you know, when you're doing these operations in Afghanistan, in Iraq, you often get these bombers that come running at you to clack themselves off. And, you know, you just talk about it. You say, yeah, what happened? He said, a couple of guys clacked themselves off. And it's just a thing. So that's what it means when you say clack yourself off.
That's the mentality of these fucking people, you know.
So there you have it. You know, we're maybe, and I mean, look, guys, I'm going to ask the question again. Do you think that he's the only one? Do you think that he's the only person that's come to the United Kingdom to seek refuge and that's going to clack themselves off? Do you think that's it? Or do you think there might be more people? What else have we got? We've done that one. Oh, no, we've done that one. Why did you just close that down? Right, I've got another. Right, let me get some questions on the chat because the Italian Prime Minister says, and I will share this video. I've not seen it. The Italian Prime Minister says, 2025 has been tough for all of us, but don't worry, next year will be much worse. So she said that yesterday. I'm going to share that with you guys in a second. Right, let me get, guys, I'm going to jump down. No hitting Cyprus is more logistics. That I don't know what that means. Fine Times is saying in 50 years, when your daughters are wearing hijabs, saying, "Oh, Russia is still a threat." Right, let me have a look at Kev Defender is saying Finland and Russia have a long history of past conflicts. Yeah, look, guys. So let me just spread this out, okay? The border. In fact, have I got the map up? Let me put. I'll show you guys on the map. So the border between Russia and Finland. I'm pretty sure it's the biggest land border. Certainly that Russia has with any NATO country. Yeah, I do. So let me share this with you guys now. So if we're talking about the, I can't zoom out anymore. So you've got Finland here. Can you see that? Yeah. So you've got Finland there on the left, guys, or the west, depending on what what language you use. So you've got Finland there on the left, and then you've got the border, and then you've got Russia on the right. I'm assuming these red parts are where Russian military are stationed. So you've got these three build-ups. I don't know. I can. I don't know how many troops are in there, but Jesus. What I'm saying is, this border here, it's absolutely huge, and it's almost impossible to. It's almost impossible. I think that's Norway. There is that Norway? Yeah. It's almost impossible to police. So you have got a little Norwegian border there. So the Finns have to cover that border, but the problem with so when people say that Finland, there's a lot of people out there saying, "Oh, Finland's going to get attacked. Russia's going to go and attack Finland." That may be true, but there really isn't anything of strategic value in these regions. Like there's nothing of strategic value. I mean, he may try and cut the country in half by having a skirmish across here. Now, if you get a free strike in any fight, you're going to want that free strike to be as devastating as possible, right? So you're going to hit Poland because you've got the main supply routes into Ukraine, which are through this town here, Rzeszów. I don't know if you guys can see that. That town there, Rzeszów. So that town, Rzeszów, is where that is the closest international airport in Poland to the border. And a lot of the stuff, like a lot of the logistics, especially the heavy stuff, gets sent by train. And the train route is here. It's from this town called Przemysl. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Guys, can somebody tell me how to pronounce that word? Przemysl. I think you pronounce it Przemysl. I think that's how you pronounce it, Przemysl. Now, it's very restrictive because of the train lines. Now, all over Poland, you have thin train lines, except here in Przemysl, you have thin train lines going into thick train lines. So what happens is things get sent to Rzeszów, whether they're flown in by military aircraft or whatever, and then they get shipped down to Przemysl and they get put on trains and then they go into Ukraine. So if you're going to get a free strike, if you're going to be able to hit your enemy while their guard's down, you're going to want to take out as much as you can. So I would say they would strike decision-making hubs in Rzeszów. Remember, that has a lot of NGO officers, that has a lot of military officers, because it's the closest to the border and it has an international airport. So that's why, I think that Poland would be the next place to be struck. Equally, there are a lot of people saying that they think it would be, that they would be Finland because of that land border. Woody is saying, this is how it all started with Ukraine. So can we honestly say Russia are just defending we will soon find out, I guess. Yeah, so I think what Woody is saying there is, if you guys can cast your minds back to 2021. Back in 2021, there was this big Russian military buildup on the border of Ukraine. There was a big buildup on the border of Ukraine with Russia. There was a big military buildup on the border with Belarus, and all these forces were. All these forces were gathering, and the Russians were saying this is just a military exercise. It's just whatever. And then, you know, what was it? The 22nd? Was it the 22nd of February, 2022? That's when the, that's when the tanks rolled over. Crosshatch is saying the only way to invade UK, which was off the reason the island is done so well, is due to its position, and the North Sea is brutal. Yeah. So the only way to invade the United Kingdom, guys, is just to come on rubber dinghies. In fact, Vladimir Putin was actually trolling us the other day. He was. Good old Putin. Good old Putin was trolling the United Kingdom, saying, you know, the United Kingdom can't defend. They can't even defend against rubber dinghies. And look, guys, I'll be honest. I thought it was quite funny. Dear Pitts is saying, what a country has has troops on their borders? No, why would anyone? I don't know what that's in response to. We've read that. Right, I'm going to share with you guys a video now from the what's her name? From the Italian Prime Minister. So don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. If you think 2025's been tough, next year is going to be worse. That's not my words; they are the words from the Italian Prime Minister. So let's see what she's got to say. And I've not watched this video. All right, okay, it's in Italian.
Vice Premier Tajani, insomma noi siamo qui chiaramente per vivere le nostre famiglie, per
Does anybody speak Italian? Can anyone translate for us? Right, okay, so I'm not going to play that video.
Per un po' di pace, anche per cercare un po' di serenità. Oltre voglio dirvi che oltre a
Okay, I'm not going to play this video, but the script on that video says that let me change her face because she looks terrified there. Hang on. There. I'm not. So what she's saying is, allegedly, I don't know if this is true, guys. I thought she'd be speaking in English, or I thought she might be, there might be some subtitles up there. But what she's saying is, 2025 has been a tough year for everyone, but don't worry, 2026 is going to be worse. And I've been saying that for quite a while. I said this about December. I said, look, guys, we are going to get to December 2026. And we're going to look back and we're going to think, yeah, things weren't actually that bad in December 2025. We've got more on the trial here about the two guys we just watched a little documentary on. Let's see what's being said about that.
Would have been absolute.
So they're talking about the men found guilty of the biggest terror plot in British history. Let's see what they're saying.
Well, Sarah Jane, the scale of this attempted terror plot is huge because counter-terrorism police in the Northwest say this is the biggest investigation that they've ever dealt with, they've ever had to carry out. And it was the actions and bravery of an undercover operative that undeniably saved lives in this situation. It could have been absolutely horrific. These two men here plotted a gun attack on the Jewish community in Manchester. They were planning that to take place in the summer of 2024 with the intention of killing as many people as possible.
So they were gonna. So look, guys, I'm getting this. Look, guys, I've not seen this video, but they were plotting this to carry out this attack, as you just heard then, in the summer of 2024. We're now in the winter of 2025. So the question I'm going to ask you guys again is, do you think there are any more active investigations going on right now? Or do you think that's it now? Do you think there are anybody... another question. First of all, do you think that there are any... Do you think that there are any active plots going on right now where the police are, where the police are actively investigating? Okay, I believe there will be. Also, do you think that there are any active plots going on at the moment that the police have not infiltrated? Or do you think, A, the police have got everything on lockdown? The police are fantastic. They've got everything on lockdown and they are doing their job fantastically and nobody slipped through the net.
Was the quote from them. But unknowingly, they revealed details of this horrific plot to an undercover operative who got in touch with them on Facebook and social media when he saw some very sort of unsavory posts on there supporting ISIS. Anyway, it took the jury just a matter of 7 hours or so to find Walid Sadawi and Ammar Hussein guilty of preparing for acts of terrorism. There was evidence of them making plans for an attack at a mass gathering, including arranging the purchase and delivery of firearms. They walked around Manchester looking at synagogues, schools and shops.
Synagogues, schools, and shops. Remember what we saw from the other video, that I shared with you guys earlier. They were saying it's okay to do I can't even say it, guys. I can't even say it. They're saying if any children are targeted, it's okay. It's okay to do that because they will go to heaven because they're not infidels yet, because they've not, they're not infidels.
Trying to target where they would carry out this attack. But during this trial, which has taken place for the last couple of months, they denied those allegations against them. But the jury, unanimous verdicts of guilty. And during this trial, they were described as Islamic State fanatics who had a visceral dislike of Jewish people. They were willing to die themselves during this plot as well, and to also kill any police officer who got in their way should this go wrong and they were found out. The case is all the more chilling, of course, when we consider that.
Let me just throw this out there, right? I've spent a lot of time in the military. I have spent a lot of time in the military. I've done a lot of active operations, where you do quite a lot of shooting. And one thing is very clear. One thing is very clear when I've been operating in the military, women and children, it's just no. You don't, it's not a thing. If there are any women and children on that site, you don't even go into it. You do get a lot of people using, you do get bad guys using women and children as human shields. So what the bad guys found certainly in Afghanistan, the bad guys found that if there were women and children in that compound, they didn't get attacked. It was very difficult to go in to attack these people. So a lot of the time you have to intercept the vehicles when they're mobile. So, to say that British military are doing, and I see this all the time with these people saying, oh, British, no, it just does not happen. It doesn't happen, guys. It really doesn't. You get like in any workplace, you get a risk assessment matrix. And when you are planning these missions, if there is any likelihood of women or children being injured, you just call that mission off. It doesn't happen. Now, here you've got people saying they want to actively target those people.
Attack in October on a synagogue in Manchester, and also what happened in Sydney on Bondi Beach. But the police say this was a huge operation. Not only the local GMP force, but also counter-terrorism, who came together, made this strike on these terrorists, these would-be terrorists, at a pub in Bolton, and stopped this taking place. They showed no emotion as those verdicts were handed out to them, and the men will be sentenced in February.
So look at the amount of resources. Look at the amount of resources that this case has taken up, to arrest 2 people. The amount of resources, like she was saying, it was the biggest operation. Like, how many more of these operations can run concurrently? You know, before the manpower's gone. And I would say that right now, the manpower is at absolute breaking point. I think manpower is at an absolute breaking point right now. So there we have it, guys. I'll keep asking the same question. You know, we have just, mainstream media are saying that we have just foiled the biggest terror attack in British history. And the question I've got for everyone, do you think that's it now? Do you think that all those terror attacks have been foiled? Do you think that there are no more active investigations? Do you think that there are no more active terror plots that have just slipped through the net and nobody knows about them? Remember what they said there. That was the biggest operation that they've seen. That was the biggest terror operation. Counter-terror operation. So where's all this manpower coming from? If you're using all your manpower, you know, let's say that took 100 officers or whatever. Those 100 officers can't be doing anything else now. Those 100 officers are dealing with that problem. What if you get 2 plots now? What if you get 3 plots? You know, and the masses that are coming to this country, and and the mass, even if it's just 1%, even if it's 1% of people coming to the United Kingdom are, you know, potentially terrorists, and even if 1% of that 1% will carry out an attack, that is still a phenomenal number, guys. That is a phenomenal number. And I would say, I'm not going to say what I think because I can't back it up with literature. I'm going to share with you guys another video. So you know how the 2-child cap benefit's being lifted, right? You know how that's happened. I want to share a video with you guys now, and I don't know how I feel about this. Let me know how you guys feel about this. There's so many things that are going through my head when I watch this video. So let me know what you guys think about this video.
Come and dish up a Chinese with me. So I could not stop thinking about Chinese all fucking day. So I was like, let's just order one. The girls and me and Kay are both having some. So let's dish it up. Right, do you want some rice?
I do, please. I don't. You don't.
Well, you need rice or chips. Which one?
I want rice, please.
Right. I'll give you both.
There's so much going off in my head right now, guys. There's so much going off in my head. And what I'm going to ask you guys a question is, you know how they've lifted this 2-child cap thing so you get paid now for having more kids? What kind of person do you think is going to be having more kids?
Have some rice. Right, here's some chicken. Do you want one of these?
What? Wow.
Yeah.
Can I put that?
Right, do you want this, Valentina?
Yeah. I can.
Well, we'll see if you can eat that first, and then you can have some more, okay? There's chicken wings. I'm not sure if you like chicken wings or not. It has bones in it.
Can I put that?
Okay, but you don't eat the bones, so you just eat it like that, and then you flip it over and eat it like that. Right.
I don't want more of them.
Right, do you want some spring rolls?
Yeah, please. I do
Right.
too.
Well, let me see how many.
What's that tattoo on her left arm? I don't know what I'm looking at here, guys. I've got so many, like, there's so much. There's so many things I want to say, but I don't even know how this is a thing.
Got in here because I can only find that one. Right, there's another one.
Are they everywhere?
You want it everywhere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want.
Oh shit! That is yours.
So I don't want.
Do you want me to put some in that little pot there? So you can dip it in if you want it.
Okay. Is that enough?
Yeah, that's enough. Right, I'll give you her wing, your wing there. Right. Are you sure you don't want any chips? Do you want another spring roll then?
Yeah.
If you're not going to have any chips.
I don't want nothing.
But you're going to have to because you've got rice. How are you going to eat it? Oh, girls, do you want any noodles? I'm going to have just a bit of everything.
Is that popcorn chicken?
Kinda.
Sorry, guys, I've not watched this whole video. I'm gonna and the question is, And look, I'm not. There's so much stuff I could mention about this video. I'm not going to. I'm just going to let it play, and I'm going to ask you guys the question. You know, what type of people do you think will be having more kids?
Right, and then they're going to give Kay the rest of the rice. So that's it. The rice is done. Some chicken, some chips.
Is there any more rolls?
Is there any more spring rolls? I don't actually know if there is. No, I don't think there is. Did you want to get? Oh no, there's one spring roll, but Mama's going to have to have it. Oh, I really wanted a spring roll. That's alright, I'll just have an extra chicken wing instead. No, they give us like loads of sauce. Right.
What's there?
God, there's more. There's more food.
Corn crackers.
Can I have two? I can have two.
Right, ready? You ready for your noodles? Freaking. Right, be careful because it's really hot. I'm going to have some noodles. And then I totally forgot I ordered these. For some reason, they sounded really nice. They were ribs.
Ribs?
Yeah, so I'm going to have a rib.
I bet she has more than one.
Yeah, there's also a bone in this, so you're going to have to be careful.
Can I please just have one?
What about a baby one?
Yeah.
I mean, how much does this shit cost? Like, I went to a Chinese takeaway like a couple of probably a while ago now. Actually, you know, I'm not going back there again. It was too expensive. I'm like, not a chance. I'm not paying that. So, like, where's this money coming from?
Just one, because I don't think I've ever tried them.
My light's gonna die, so if it dies midway through, just know it's gonna die. It died actually everywhere. Put curry sauce on Kay's. Let's just do a quick try of everything before my phone dies. No, my light dies again, not my phone. That is freaking beautiful. Bye.
So I don't know why that popped up on my feed. I don't know why that popped up on my feed. But when I saw it, you know, when I saw that, I was like, right, who's having these kids, right? Who's having these kids? Because I can guarantee you, it ain't the motherfuckers who are going out to work every day. It ain't the fucking people who are paying the taxes who are having extra kids. No, because they're too busy fucking working and paying tax and doing shit and making things happen. So now what we have, I don't know if this is the case, now what we could potentially have is a bunch of people who don't work, who just bang kids out and they just get money for, and that's their life. What kind of society are we going to have in 10, 15 years, in 40 years, when those kids grow up and they've never known working? Like, what? Working? That's gay. I'll just bang some kids out. You know, because at some point, right, as the population of non-workers outstretches the population of workers, there's going to be no more fucking money left. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd, guys. And I don't want to be negative to that girl. I don't know who she is. I don't know why it popped up on my feed, but I was looking at that and I was thinking, right, is that... You see, I can't say anything without being negative. So I'm just going to leave it there. What type of people do you think are having all the children? One of the lot, blokes done a runner. I don't know what that means. Ham, shark, or... Right, guys, I don't know what people... Right, they will only know as well as they have been shown and told. Yes. Do you know what? Good comment. Yeah. So now we're going to have this generation of children growing up that only know, well, do you know what? They will only know as well as they have been shown and told. So if all they know is, you know, if all they know is you know, not working and claiming free money. In 40 years, we will put ourselves onto universal basic income. That's coming, guys. That is coming regardless. And I don't know. I don't think Keir Starmer and the Labour government actually understand what they're doing. I think they're too stupid. But whoever's behind the scenes pushing these buttons, they absolutely know what's coming. Look at that happy face. Look at that happy face. Listen, guys, I do like Chinese food. I like Chinese food. Yeah, UBI, absolutely. Patcom is saying it there. You know, we're growing, like, you know, people thought, you know, people think that, like, the move into totalitarianism or the move into oppression happens quickly. It doesn't. It can happen quickly. It's happening inch by inch. So now we've got that. You know, now the government are making it. You know, the government are making it more. They're making it almost impossible for, like, I know, like, people like my friend, for example. He works. Him and his wife work. They hardly see the kids, and he was telling me, like, he was saying, you know what, Sean, it's this is what we get at the end of the month. And I was like, wow, dude. And he was saying there are people not working and they have more money than me. Like, how is that? Yes, they've got a mortgage. Yes, they've got 2 cars that are on finance, and they definitely don't need 2 cars on finance. But, you know, he's saying, how can it be that people are not working and they get more money than me? He said, just how does that make sense? I said, I don't know, mate. I said, I've no idea. I said, there's a lot of things that I don't even think about anymore. There's a lot of things that I try to make sense that I just cannot. I just cannot make them make sense. Listen, guys, I'm going to start to close this down now. Totalitarian tiptoe. Yeah, that's what David Icke says, isn't it? The totalitarian tiptoe. Nobody is so strong like us white trash. Right, guys, listen. So the crux of this live stream has been the biggest terror attack in British history has just been foiled. I shared with you guys the videos, and the question I will keep proposing to you guys is, do you think that's it now? Or do you think there are more active investigations by the police that are concurrently running right now? And also, do you think there are any active plots in the United Kingdom that the police do not know about that may actually happen? I would say yes is the answer to both, but, you know, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Also, white men will fight, ladies and gentlemen. It's part of white history. It's part of being, you know, different cultures are different. And if you say that different cultures aren't different, you are blatantly a racist. You are racist. If you want to sit there, if people want to sit there and say, oh no, Sean, everybody's equal, that's the most racist thing I've ever heard. It is. That's the most racist thing I've ever heard. If you want to encourage diversity, you need to, encouraging diversity would be acknowledgement that people are diverse, i.e., people are different. It doesn't make fucking sense otherwise. Oh, we want more diversity, but people are not different. What the fuck are you actually talking about? Are you deluded right now? Are you actually deluded? Are people actually... We want more diversity because everybody's equal. It's so fucking retarded, guys. Honestly, it's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. We want to celebrate people's differences by saying everybody's the same. It makes no sense, all right? So if we say that diversity is a thing, and I agree it is, if we say that different tribes in Africa have different cultures and customs, I support that. I 100% support that. If you're talking about my culture, if you want to talk about white culture, white men's culture, that is a culture of war, technology, innovation, and expansion. That's white culture. And unfortunately, there are no more lands to explore. There's no more horizons to. To exceed. And that's why we feel that we're closing down. Unfortunately, we're having all these wars at the moment, which are absolutely ridiculous. These wars are going to be ridiculous, but hopefully after these wars have ended, and they will end at some point, some way, they will end. Either we'll all just say, yeah, we're good. Yeah, we should just stop this. We'll cuddle each other. We'll say, yeah, let's just stop this now. Hopefully, after the wars have ended, we can all, after the wars have ended, we can hopefully start to explore space, go into the cosmos, because that's where humanity's future is. It's not down here on Earth, guys. It's not. It's the white man's prerogative to go into space. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, guys, listen, I'm going to close this down now. I think I've ranted for far too long. I will be back on. Later on today, guys. I will be back on later on today at 8, I think. Yeah, I think I'll be on 8. I'm not sure when I'm going to get on tomorrow. It's Christmas Day, obviously, tomorrow. So we've got Christmas dinner and stuff. I will be on at some point tomorrow. Yeah. Claire is saying, be proud to be white. For too many years, we've been pandering to other ethnic groups. We are, remember who we are. We are lions. That's quite powerful, that, Claire. That's quite powerful. Hang on. Let me just jump up and get some else. Yeah, Debbie Doobs was right. There will never be peace. It is human nature, guys. It is human nature. What I say is we can still have that human nature, that innovative competitivity. But rather than killing each other, we can build spaceships. We can have space races. Wouldn't that be a better future? Rather than seeing like the death tolls in foreign countries, wouldn't it be a better future to have that we were building spaceships and that you turn on the news and rather airstrike here, airstrike there, rather than all that, wouldn't it be better to turn on the news and see, I don't know, America have just built a new heavy lift spaceship that can take more tonnage into space. The Russians have just figured out how to do, have built their first nuclear reactor on the moon. The Chinese have got solar panels around the sun. Wouldn't that be a better future for humanity? Wouldn't that be a life, that you would be happy? You'd be growing up into that. You'd be like, wow, look what my children are going to do. They're going to go and find, they're going to go and find new horizons, and they're working in this space industry. But unfortunately, guys, unfortunately, we're not there yet. I hope we will be there yet. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this down now. You guys have been fantastic. You guys have been amazing. Make sure you like and comment and subscribe, all that stuff, guys. I will leave the chat on, actually. I will. I left the chat on the other day. I'll leave the chat on for a bit, guys, okay? I'm going to go now. I'll be back on at 8. I don't know what the chat does, guys. I've never done it before, but I will leave the chat on. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys later, and I will be back on at some point later today. At 8. I will be back on at 8, and I'll be on at some point tomorrow.